Hello there. I'm just doing this video to give you an overview of what we're doing on the Medusa stand this year at UKGE. So let's get on with it. Here is the map of the area. We're in our usual spot just inside Hall 2. Roads and things will give you all the instructions on how to get in and all that sort of thing. Take note about car parking if you haven't heard anything about it, because it's a bit different this year. Anyway, here we are. This is the stand. Now, the layout's going to be pretty similar to usual. We are going to have the authors behind us there. We'll have a sort of central storeroom. We'll have a shop front with Andre, the artist, on that. We're going to have an area like last year, sort of with some playtest tables in. And these are the tables. Now, a couple of these tables, probably the two on the corner down here, will actually have a partner company with us, Board Game Box, who co-published Fly Machines with us back in the day, and have a new game, Callipum, which is quite a fun family game. And there are two additional demonstrators. They won't be there on the Thursday, but they'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, demonstrating that. Oh, I think there's three actually rotated across the weekend. The other tables we will be doing various games on. We'll be doing a couple of demonstrations of Great Forest Chicago, and we will have probably Tinker Tailor on this little table here. One of these tables at the back, we will probably have Stone Circles, which is a new game I'm going to tell you about in a moment. We'll definitely want a couple of tables, Oranges and Lemons, because obviously that's the most recent game of ours. An expansion came out last year at Essen, so we will want to at least be able to talk about the expansion a bit. And you might want to check out the rule book of that if you are happy enough with Oranges and Lemons, but you would like a bit of a bone upon the Here Comes a Candle. We'll probably have Fly Machines. We may have another partner company giving us having a game demo in the area, or it may just be on sale with us. So we've agreed to have some stock of another company's games. But all of this I will put into the usual kind of briefing note that I leave on the stand. If on the Thursday, those that are there on the Thursday can aim to get down between about 12 and 2, there will be the setup to do. There is a show preview over in Hall 1, and I booked a table for everyone for 9 o'clock in the Sky Bar in the Gentian area across at Resort World. Okay, so let's get on then with looking at the games. This is the demonstration of Great Fire of London as it was at Aircon back in March. It has, however, come along some way since then. Try and find the board. It is. This is the latest board. I'm waiting for another update to this. But as you will see, it has now started to look more distinctly American 19th century style, rather than the previous sort of just imported fonts and icons and things from the original Great Fire of London. So Great Fire of Chicago, we will have a pretty advanced board printed off. We also have some nice win cards that have been I've actually got properly made, which will make it look good, and some icons for the little black discs. The game will play pretty similar to what it did last year at UKGE for those that demonstrated it. If I get time, I'll try and do send through some updated notes on any differences, but otherwise it'll be there for the show. But if you know Great Fire of London, you can do Great Fire of Chicago. The differences are things like the alarm mechanisms, the goods cubes, and the ships and things. But a lot of it, the gameplay, basic core gameplay, is the same. If you know demonstrated Great Fire of London, it's probably not a bad idea to check out a video on Board Game Geek, so that you know the gist of it. But we'll have a couple of tables of this because we hope that this game will come out next October, not this October, but October 27. So obviously we're trying to give it an increase and a plug. So yes, the idea is to have that going on over here on a couple of these tables. And we aren't going to probably be demonstrating that King of the Castle game at the moment. That's kind of on a back burner, so we're not really bothering much with that at the moment. We may well have a copy of it there because we've got quite advanced prototypes, but just at the moment we're not sure where we're going with that one, so we won't be putting effort into that. One of these tables at the back here will probably have an early version of the stone circles, which is a game that we've been working on now for since last summer. And if I bring this up a moment, we have this. Yeah, there we go. This is a playtest of stone circles again, as it was in Aircon back in March. It has come along quite a way since that in terms of components. We've had all of a bit of a refresh and a redesign, and a lot of it is different, but the core of it will look similar to this. It is essentially a sort of a little bit Carcassonne style exploration of a Neolithic landscape, but look a little different to that. Now, Helen has actually played a few turns of this only last weekend, but I think this is a game that we should. I'll try and get out, talk people through it. You should certainly try and have a go at it on the Thursday, so that somebody can feel that they've got a bit of a grip of that to be able to do play tests of it during the weekend. This, however, will be a couple of years away at least. All right, so let's have a look at it. So I'm going to be sending you this set of draft rules for it, which should give you the gist of the game. Now, the overview of stone circles is that you are Neolithic farmers. You are starting off on a little homestead. So you'll start the game with one single tile with a couple of meeples on it, and those are your farmers. And then you will literally go out into the landscape around, drawing tiles from a bag. And that will create the landscape around where you are, and on that landscape you will be able to undertake activities. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is to score what we call spirit points, and appease the gods and so on, and that is by building monument tiles and megaliths, which will be where the points in the game are derived. So, as I say, you start off on a homestead. A homestead can basically produces free food, because the key thing about the Neolithic period is it was when hunter-gathering was abandoned in favour of farming, and that meant that you had time to do other stuff, including building monuments and things. Okay, so homesteads generate free food, and they allow you to make more babies by basically putting your workers on there to generate more workers. Now, as I say, in a turn, you'll have two workers, and in a turn, they can each do an action. Some actions require more than one worker to complete. But in this particular place, the homestead tile, you can put both your workers there, and that would create a third worker. But that, of course, would consume all your actions for that particular turn. But it's not a bad thing to do reasonably early on to start getting extra workers in play. Right, so you explore out into your landscape, and there are a number of actions you can do in a turn. Those actions are summarised in here, but they are explore, clear terrain, harvest resources, build, upgrade, reproduce, or collaborate. So one of the key things is exploring. So what you would do is go out and start to build up your landscape. So what could you find out there? Well, you could find forest tiles, and these forest tiles can allow a worker to go there and to harvest wood. And that's how you get one of the resources, wooden cubes. You can also clear the landscape by doing a clearing action. That means you chop down all the trees, it generates a couple of wooden cubes, and converts to a little icon there for a grasslands tile. So what is a grasslands tile? A grasslands tile is a place where it can also generate food. Imagine you've got sheep there or something, so you can send a worker there to generate food. But also it is a place where there is a building location. This icon of a hammer means building is permitted there, and building other stuff such as farms, such as villages, and monuments can be done on a grasslands tile. Grassland tiles can be found directly from the bag, but also can be created by clearing forests. Another terrain you will find in the bag is a hill tile, and hill tiles can be cleared. And if you clear them, it generates a couple of stone cubes, and clearing a hill tile makes it a quarry. And a quarry is a place where you can continue to get stone from. Either one person can get one stone, or two people can get 2 stones by going to a quarry. Anyway, back to the hill tile. So hill tile is a place where you can also build on. It's got a build icon, so you can build monuments, villages, farms and things on a hill as well as on grassland. But also hills are special places. They are holy places, and so they generate a spirit point in the game just by existing. They also create what we call adjacency. So if a monument is orthogonally adjacent, up, down, left, right adjacent to a hill tile, it will generate a bonus spirit point. They built monuments in places with hills around them because they were considered, holy locations. Okay. Water tiles is another thing that can come out of the bag. Water tiles, when you draw them out of the bag, you place a couple of food cubes on them. That represents the fish in the water. And if you put a person there, you can draw one of those cubes off. Once all the cubes are gone, they're gone. Water tiles are also holy places, so they generate spirit points just by existing. And if adjacent diagonally to a monument, it will give that monument a bonus point, adjacency point. Okay. So these are what we call the terrain tiles. Those are the 4 that are in the bag. Grasslands can also be created by converting a forest. Okay. Then we've got what we call building tiles. So you start the game with a homestead tile. You can't get homestead tiles any other way. You just start with one. But you can create farms and villages. At the bottom of the tile, there is a cost to build. So a farm requires 2 wood to make it, and you can build this on a grassland or a tile. When you build on a grassland or a tile, you return those tiles to where they came from. So the bag, or in the case of grasslands, maybe also the stack of building tiles that might be you might be able to build from. Okay, now you can you can harvest in a farm tile. A person there can generate 2 food. So if you actually put them to work in the farm, they generate food. That is the basic purpose of a farm tile, is to create food. A village tile. A village tile is a location that requires stone and a wood to make, and a person, by the way. These icons at the bottom mean it requires an action with 1 person, 2 wood for a farm, or an action with 1 person, a wood and a stone to make a village. And a village is a location that has a granary. It allows you to store food. Normally you can't store food beyond the end of a season. I'll come back to seasons in a moment, but basically once you reach the end of a season, which is a certain number of turns, this is represented on this scoreboard here, and the first season is 6 turns long. After that, each season, the first turn is 6 turns long here, and then after that, each season is 3 turns long until you get to the end of the game. Once you reach the end of a season, you have to feed your people, and any spare food would have to be discarded. However, you can store food on a granary. At the end of the game, if your granary is full, you get a bonus 3 points. Okay, now so those are the normal building tiles. Quarry tiles you build, as we say, you create by clearing a hill. Then we get to these things. So these are the monuments and the megaliths. Now there are many sorts of monuments. This one is a stone ring. It costs 2 people and 2 stone to build it. This is actually what we call tier 2. There are 3 tiers of monuments. I'll show you that in a moment. And it is possible to upgrade, that's what that means, this up to the 3rd tier at a discount from what it would normally cost us to build it direct. And when we come to the scoring round, it will generate spirit points based on these icons here. I'll explain that in a bit more detail. Okay, so let's have a look at the monuments. The monuments are all on this page here, and you have 8. There are 6 what we call classes of monument, and each of those classes has 3 tiers. So the tier 1 wooden structures are timbered halls. Tier 2 is a timbered enclosure, and tier 3 are wood circles, like Woodhenge, for example. Then we have what we call harvest monuments. These are places where you could sacrifice food to appease the gods, and in this case, you're sacrificing food to buy spirit points. Then we have standing stones, stone rings, and stone circles. And all of these you will see have increasing amounts of build costs. Now, when you convert something like this stone ring being able to be upgraded to a stone circle, you pay the difference in price. So effectively, you would need 2 stone and two workers to build the stone ring. That can be upgraded to a stone circle for just 2 more workers and 2 stone, because you just pay the difference. Causeways, which are become cursuses and ceremonial avenues. Long barrows, bank barrows and round barrows, and chambered tombs, passage graves and passage grave complexes. Okay, so these represent sort of very crudely the early Neolithic, the mid-Neolithic and the late Neolithic Copper Age sort of structures that existed at the time. And these are the key, in many ways, to scoring your points. So these are built, as we've said, on grasslands and hills. Once you have to think about where you're placing them, because it's good to have them adjacent to the lakes and the hills, because those are adjacency points. And when it comes to the scoring round, you will score points based on these icons. So to explain that a little bit, let's come back to here. Notice on this board here, these little blue symbols, and they have different symbols on moons and suns and things like that. Yeah. So if we go back to here, the timbered hall here will score you 1 spirit point anyway, and it will score you 1 spirit point for any sun symbol that is on that happens to be on the scoring chit for that particular season. So at the end of the first season, we'll be scoring on these icons here, and if those icons showed up on the monument, then you would score numbers of symbols here multiplied by numbers of symbols here. Okay, so if there's a sun on that chit, there's a sun on the timbered halls. That's 1 times 1, and that's an extra point. Yeah. This one gives you bonus points for harvest symbols, and then we got ones for like ancestor symbols and for moons as well. Causeways give you bonus, what we call adjacency points. So this means that if there is another monument anywhere around a causeway's enclosure, then it will get every one of those monuments would gain a bonus point. The only rule we say is that causeway type things can't grant adjacency points to other causeway sorts of things. You don't get like a multiplier effect of having one causeway next to another causeway. But they would give their adjacency points to any of the other monument types. Hills and water give adjacency to any monument, even causeways as well. Okay. So, scoring this thing, Ceremonial Avenue, I would get 3 points anyway, and every single monument adjacent to my Ceremonial Avenue would get 3 bonus points just by this being there. Harvest monuments, they grant points providing you can consume food. So harvest offerings, you can burn 2 points, 2 food cubes to get a spirit point. Harvest mounds up to 4, and harvest hills, any amount of food can be converted into spirit points. Okay, the barrows. This symbol here means that you can consume a resource of your choice to buy one symbol of your choice. So what you could say is, right, this turn, here you go, there's a stone. I'm going to say that this has got a sun icon on it for this particular scoring round. Or the next scoring round, you might decide to make that a moon. So that's what they do. And you'll notice the bank barrow, you can do that 3 times over, the round barrow 5 times over. And the build cost at the bottom here, this means that 2 workers and any 2 resources. Here, any 4 resources of these types, wood and stone. Stone rings. These stone rings would be a moon and a sun symbol. This is 3 sun symbols. Within each particular tile type, so standing stones, there are actually 4 tiles which are standing stones, and some of them vary a little bit on what exact icons are on there. So these are some example ones. Yeah. So there's also be a three moon scoring one as well for this stone circle. So this would score you 3 points for every sun icon that was on that scoring chit, plus 3 points anyway. And this would score you based on what we call ancestor points, which are the skull symbols that are on there. Okay, so that's what you'll be scoring quite a lot of your points for in the game. The other way of scoring in the game is you can collaborate towards what we call building a megalith. So the megaliths, there are 18 megaliths, and one for every different monument type in the game. You're only going to have 3 of these out in any particular game. As you see here, we've got one tier 1 monument, it's a megalith, one tier 2 megalith, and one tier 3 megalith can be seen on that on there. Yeah. So this is the tier 1, this is the tier 2, this is the tier 3 one. And if I go into a little bit more detail on the thing, where's he gone? Oh, I've lost me megalith. There it is. Okay, megalith. I'll make that a bit bigger. So here's a megalith. So this is the name of the megalith. These are real places. So Stonehenge is in there, Woodhenge, Maze Howe, Rings of Broadcart, and so on are all in there. They will each have a different thing at the bottom here that matches the particular different type of thing on those monuments. Yeah, so there will be one in this case for a long barrow. They can have timbered enclosures, wood circles, harvest hills, and so on. This one has the word long barrow at the bottom. It's a tier 1 megalith. So let's go through these things. So what you do here is you can do what we call a collaborate action. So apart from sending your workers out to explore the landscape, to clear terrain, to harvest resources, to build things, and to upgrade structures, and finally to and to reproduce, you can also do the final action type, which is to collaborate. Now, the megaliths were wonders of the day, but they were also community efforts. It required the cooperation of multiple types of tribes to build these things. Okay, so depending on the player count of the game, there's going to be a number of worker placement spots on here. So this is a 2-player game. Only one player can put a worker there on any given round of the game. And rounds are multiple player turns. So in the business of the what have I done now? I've lost what I was looking at there. I'll come back to that later. So you play the game in a series of rounds. Each round consists of there we go. That's what I was looking for. Each round consists of multiple player turns. So we have seasons. See, this is a 6-season up to this first scoring round. Another 3 seasons. Another 3 seasons. Each season consists of a number of rounds. Each of those squares is a round. A round consists of multiple player turns, which is worker placement actions, if you like. Yeah. So think about oranges and lemons. In oranges and lemons, there are 12 rounds in the game, but in each round you can take turns in placing workers. So that's what a turn is just when you do one thing. You do multiple things in a round, and so many rounds together add up to the to a season, which is when you do your scoring round. Okay, so in going back to our megalith a minute, in a round of the game, in a 2-player game, one player only could place a worker on this megalith. If this was a 3-player game, 2 people could there and there. If it was a 4-player game, you have 3 people go there, and finally in a 5-player game, 4 people could put workers there. Or the same person could put more than one worker, because when it's your turn, you could decide to go here, or you could do something else. So you place your worker on here, and you're contributing to the global effort of making Bella scrap here. Okay. When you do that, you take one of your little wooden cubes and place it on these reward or collaboration bonus spaces. This particular megalith is just all about spirit points, yeah. But other ones will give you free resources, extra symbols towards the scoring round, and so on. So those are going to be summarised in a little table chart, which will is in the rule book. Or when you just look at the picture of the particular megalith, the icons, the symbols that are on there will tell you what you get. Okay. Anyway, so you place a cube goes on there, and you score that straight away. In this case, a victory point. At the end of the round, you will take back all the workers, and then they'll get placed again the following round. When all of the spaces for this particular game are filled up, so in a 2-player game, you would need to fill up those 4 places. If this was a 3-player game, all 6 would have to be filled up. Yeah, and or 10 in a 5-player game. So yeah, so once all those places are filled up, then this megalith is built. And what then happens is the person who's got the most cubes over here will get this bonus here, 3 points. And the second place person gets 1. If there is a tie for number of places, it's whoever is in the furthest up left-hand position. So who kind of got in first out of the tied players. Now, you leave the cubes on there because these are going to help you at the end of the game. But the person who came first we'll put a cube here on the sponsor bonus, and the sponsor bonus will give you something. In this particular case, this means that when you explore the landscape, you can you can draw 2 tiles out of the bag and choose one of them. Normally, when you explore the landscape with just 1 worker, you can only put draw 1 tile out. If you explore the landscape with 2 workers going into the same place, you can draw more than 1 tile. But anyway, this megalith gives you that benefit anyway. Right, finally, there's a couple of the symbols on here to explain this. Things with all 3 resources in means that when you go to the megalith and you do an action there, you can swap 2 to 1. Basically, you can swap 2 food for a stone, 2 wood for a food, whatever. Yeah, so it's 2 to 1. That's because this is where you're cooperating, all the tribes are getting together, and that allowed a certain amount of markets and trade and things to go on. Finally, this thing at the bottom here means that if in the game you build a long barrow, you will gain a bonus victory point. And each of the 18 different megaliths gives you a bonus for a different monument that might be built in the game. Okay. And higher tier monuments will give you 2 or even 3 bonus victory points if you build that particular monument that matches the type of this particular megalith. Okay, so fundamentally, what we do then is play the game over a series of turns until we run out of the table here. You may not do full games in this. You might want to play people through to, maybe the second scoring or something like that. But see how far people want to go. It actually plays fairly quickly. Once you know the game, it does play fairly quickly. You can certainly do a whole game in 3 or 4 people in 90 minutes. Once you know what's going on in the game. Okay, so you play through those things, then you get to a scoring phase. So at the end of here, so each of the scoring phases will be scoring you points as you go along, which you keep track of here. But then at the end of the game, you do your last scoring for the end of the season. You score an extra point for every stone or wood resource you have. Score 3 points for every full granary that you've got. And then you look at your megaliths and you count the total number of cubes on all of the collaboration spaces, and depending on the number, number of players in the game, then people are going to score bonus points, and that effectively is stone circles. So that's a bit of an overview of it. I'll send through the Word document as well. Try and have a bit of a skim through that, and then on the Thursday, once everything's set up, try and have a bit of a playthrough. I'll try and get out and try and talk people through if I can. Helen's at least played through a couple of, I think, to the first scoring. Sorry, to the second scoring phase we got to, so she's got a bit of the gist of what's going on. All right, and we're obviously just looking for comments and feedback from everybody. Okay, we'll see you soon.